Hello. In this Coolgrad video, we're going to talk about studying in Singapore. Singapore is a beautiful island country in Southeast Asia, and it has a couple of really good universities and a lot of interesting scholarships, and bright young students go there every year. And we're going to talk about what it's like to study in Singapore, the cost of living, the places to see, and the top universities and the courses offered in Singapore. So, first of all, location of Singapore. So Singapore looks like this, and it's just below Malaysia, and it's an island country south of Malaysia and above Indonesia. So if India is here, it's to the east of India, and it's like about a 4-hour flight from Chennai and Bangalore. So this is what Singapore looks like. I mean, it's an island country, and there's like beaches everywhere, and it's rich in cultural diversity. So you'll see a lot of Chinese, Malay, and Indians. So among Indians, you'll mostly see a lot of Tamilians out there, and you'll see a lot of Chinese people too. I mean, when Indian students usually go to Singapore for higher studies, one of the common problems they face is that all these Chinese students look alike. So they find it very difficult to tell them apart. But after you live with them for about 6 months, you'll be able to tell them apart. And you'll see a lot of interesting cultural differences. It's a good learning experience. The relative size of Singapore. So it's an island country, and its population is about 5.7 million as of 2016. Singapore consists of 63 islands, including the main island, widely known as Singapore Island. So area of Singapore is approximately 719 square kilometers, and it's about 3.5 times the size of Washington DC, just so you have an idea of its size. And via land reclamation, so smaller islands were merged to form larger islands. So they kind of filled up the area in between these islands, I guess, and they made them into like bigger islands. So area increased from 581 square kilometers to 719 square kilometers. Nearly 10% of Singapore's land has been set aside for parks and nature reserves. So that's nice. It's kind of like a highly urbanized part. You know, in the cities you'll see a lot of skyscrapers, and it's like a concrete jungle, and a lot of high-rise buildings. But there are also places like Jurong Bird Park and Sentosa Island. Sentosa Island, of course, is a different island, but there's like Jurong Bird Park, which is like really secluded and very calm and serene, with a lot of birds and animals and forests and waterfalls and that kind of stuff. History of Singapore. Singapore was founded as a British trading colony in 1819. It joined the Malaysian Federation in 1963. It was ousted 2 years later and became independent. So the National Day of Singapore is celebrated on August 9th every year to celebrate Singapore's independence from Malaysia in the year 1965. So Singapore got independence from Malaysia in 1965, and it's one of the world's most prosperous countries. Its economy is booming, and the Singapore dollar has usually a lot of value in the international market, and it has a lot of strong international trading links. Its port is one of the world's busiest in terms of tonnage handled, and with per capita GDP equal to that of the leading nations of the Western Europe. So the gross domestic product is almost on par with the countries in Western Europe. So how did Singapore get its name? So Singapore actually is the English version of Singapura. So Singa means lion and Pura means town. So the legend is that there was this Sumatran prince, Sanganila Uttama, a Srivijayan prince, and I believe he landed on Temasek. That's what Singapore was then called. That was Singapore's old name, and then he saw a lion, which is called a Singa in Malay. So I believe it was a kind of strange encounter. The lion just prostrated at his feet and walked away or something like that, and he thought it was very strange, and he called this land Singapura. But a lot of people think, there's hardly any lions. There's probably no lion at all in Singapore. So they probably thought what he saw must have been a tiger. We don't really know. But he thought it was a lion, and he called it Singapura, Lion Town. So that's how Singapore gets its name. So let's talk about the weather in Singapore. Singapore is usually like close to the equator, and it's hot and humid, and it's typically tropical climate with abundant rainfall, high and uniform temperatures, and high humidity all year round. Many of its climate variables such as temperature and relative humidity do not show large month-to-month variation. However, many variables exhibit prominent diurnal or daily variations from hour to hour, indicating the strong influence that solar heating has on local climate. February is the hottest month in Singapore. So unlike India, where mostly like the summer months of June, July, those are hot, in Singapore, February is the hottest. And the average temperature is about 27 degrees Celsius or 81 degrees Fahrenheit. And the coldest is January with 26 degrees Celsius. So it's still not, too cold. The wettest month is December with average of 269 millimeters of rain. So it gets a lot of rain in December. It's pretty much like general climate. No snow at all in Singapore. So in most of these countries, Singapore, Malaysia, you don't really get snow. Maybe Malaysia, it's a little cooler than the rest of the place, like in Genting Highlands. But they have this artificial snow world and stuff. But even in Singapore, you don't get to see snow, like natural snow. So Singapore is kind of hot and humid climate. People usually dress very casually, like jeans and t-shirts and, shorts and flip-flops. So some people are dressed in long sleeves too. So, it's almost like Bangalore weather, you could say. So it's always good to have an extra piece of outerwear in your bag. It can get cold in the air-conditioned lecture theaters, shopping malls, and cinemas, which have blasting air conditioners. So they have AC almost everywhere in Singapore. It can get pretty cold, so you might want to carry a sweater with you sometimes. Given that Singapore's weather is usually hot or wet, some people have the habit of carrying umbrellas, whether to shield themselves from the sun or rain. Even if you do not have an umbrella, fret not. So usually there are sheltered walkways from bus stops to MRT stations and shopping malls. So it's a highly advanced country, and when you're in Singapore, make sure you don't spit on the streets, make sure you don't litter or dirty the streets, otherwise you have a big fine, and they might impose community service on you, and they try to keep it really clean. So quick facts about Singapore. So a lot of Singaporeans eat outside. Eating out is very common. Don't be surprised to see items such as tissue packets and umbrellas lying on tables in food centers unattended. So there's a lot of tissue packets and umbrellas. So it's the way people reserve their seats in Singapore. So, just don't think that people have forgotten it, or, don't try to take it away from there. It's how they reserve their seat. And don't be upset if you find your Singaporean friends tapping away on their mobile phones all the time. So they're highly high-tech, and, Singapore is a country where people care about their, high-tech gadgets a lot. And they're big time on social media. They're hardly seen without a phone. So they love to play with their phones, and it's not a sign of disrespect, it's just that they love their gadgets so much. And in Singapore, if you manage to find a $1,000 note, a Singapore dollar, it's kind of uncommon, but if you find it, turn it over, you'll find a microtext lyrics of the Singaporean national anthem. I think that's kind of cool. So if you find a $1,000 Singapore dollar note, you'll see the microtext of the Singapore national anthem on this, either on this side or the back side. So some more quick facts about Singapore. So it's known as the land of acronyms. So whether it's the highway, the government agencies, skyscrapers, transportation, or even the name of a human being. So LKY is Lee Kuan Yew, first Prime Minister of Singapore. So they all have acronyms. So you better be familiar with acronyms. Some usual acronyms are MOE is Ministry of Education, SBS is Singapore Bus Service, MRT is Mass Rapid Transit, CTE is Central Expressway, and GST is Goods and Services Tax. Airports in Singapore. So the Changi Airport, Singapore, that's code is SIN. That's the most famous international airport. So if you're flying from India or any other country, you would mostly fly into Changi International Airport. So that's where I flew into. And then there's also another I think slightly smaller airport called Seletar Airport, XSP, on West Camp Road over here. So, but the Changi Airport is like the most popular one and the biggest one. And Singapore Airlines is, of course, the nation's, national airline, Singapore Airlines. And you'll see a lot of people, air hostesses dressed in red. And red is considered to be a really auspicious color in Singapore. Like, whether it's like Chinese or even Tamil, like you'll see a lot of websites and a lot of decorations. Most of it has like some amount of red in it because red is considered really auspicious. So, top cities in Singapore. There's Jurong in the west over here, and there's Queenstown in the south, and there's Woodlands in the north, and there's Tampines in the east. So this is the these are the places in Singapore. Jurong. So Jurong is a region in the western part of Singapore, and it's about 82.89 square kilometers in size. Population is about 358,000 as of 2016. Quick facts. A few decades ago, harvesting pineapple, pepper, nutmeg, rubber, fishing, brickwork as sources of income for Jurong. Science Centre Singapore has over 850 exhibits spread over 8 exhibition galleries and sees over 1 million visitors a year. Snow City in Singapore's first indoor snow centre. Jurong Bird Park is a beautiful, serene location with varieties of birds and waterfalls. Woodlands Town is a planning area and residential town located in the north region of Singapore. Size is 13.59 square kilometers. Population approximately about 109,000 as of 2016. Quick facts, the first HDB built in Woodlands was in 1972. The best place to see the jungle is in Woodlands, known as Singapore Zoo. So this is a picture of a train. There are a lot of trains and buses in Singapore. Public transport is actually quite good. Top universities in Singapore. So this is the interesting part. So we have all heard of NUS, National University of Singapore, one of the world famous locations, and Nanyang Technological University, NTU, which is also equally popular. So these are like the two most famous universities in Singapore, and a lot of students from India and other countries try and get scholarships to these universities because these are good places to study, and I think the quality of education there is much better than that of the universities in India. So there's also James Cook University. In fact, my sister studied in James Cook University. She did her MBA from there. And Tier 2 universities in Singapore. There's Queen Margaret University, Curtin University, and MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, from the US has a Singapore branch. So my point is, these universities are not as popular as NUS or NTU, but they're also quite good actually. So let's talk about studying at the National University of Singapore. So NUS, let's talk about the history of NUS. So it was founded, there was some kind of a, request that first came up in 1904. So it's more than 100 years old. And then a group of representatives of the Chinese and other non-European communities, and they petitioned the governor of the Straits Settlements, Sir John Anderson, to establish a medical school in Singapore. So Tan Jack Kim, that was the guy who led this movement, and Tan, who was the first president of the Straits Chinese British Association, managed to raise 87,077 Straits dollars, of which the largest amount of $12,000 came from himself. And on 3rd July 1905, the medical school was founded and was known as the Straits Settlements and Federated Malay States Government Medical School. So NUS has been there for many decades now. The campus of NUS. So NUS main campus is located in southwest Singapore, adjacent to Kent Ridge, with an area of about 150 hectares. So that's about 0.58 square miles. So that's about like 0.7 miles by 0.7 miles, if you think about that, approximately like in a square. So NUS has 16 faculties, so a department is called a faculty. and schools, including a music conservatory. So it has 7 overseas colleges at major entrepreneurial hubs in Shanghai and Beijing. So there's overseas branches of NUS. In China, it's located in Shanghai and Beijing. And in Israel and in India, Stockholm in Sweden, Silicon Valley and Bio Valley in the United States. The Bukit Timah campus houses the Faculty of Law, Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy and Research Institutes, while the Duke NUS Graduate Medical School Singapore is located at the Outram campus. The Faculty of Engineering was launched in 1968. It is the largest faculty in the university. So FOE is Faculty of Engineering, consists of several divisions and departments. So these divisions and departments include Bioengineering, Chemical and Biomolecular Engineering, Civil and Environmental Engineering, Electrical and Computer Engineering, Engineering Science Program, Industrial and Systems Engineering, Material Science Engineering, Mechanical Engineering, Division of Engineering and Technology Management. So these are some of the branches of engineering in NUS. NUS is a comprehensive university with disciplines in medicine, architecture, engineering, computing, law, social sciences and more. So NUS has a highly diverse student body of over 37,000 students on campus. Buildings on campus are beautifully designed for convenience and to tap solar and green energy. Global network of over 30,000 NUS alumni. So the NUS alumni are very well placed in a lot of top-notch companies, and they also founded a lot of interesting companies, and they're located all over the world, and they have a strong association and a global network of alumni. So NUS department rankings. So the business school, MBA is ranked like top 12 in the world according to QS rankings 2016. And the computer science department ranked top 9 in the world. And mechanical engineering top 8, electrical engineering top 6. These are like global ranks. So civil engineering top 3 is actually really good. Chemical engineering top 5 in the world. Medical school is ranked top 22 in the world, and law school is top 16 in the world. So medical school is still very highly ranked, but you know, sometimes when you get scholarships and study in Singapore, you have to remember that sometimes there's a catch. You have to give them a bond that you're going to work for the Singapore, work for like a Singaporean company in Singapore for a few years. Especially for medicals, they have this bond, so you might want to watch out for that. So this is the building of the business school. So this is where you would go to study an MBA. It's a kind of nice building with all these glass and kind of modern architecture. And so the NUS Business School, as it's called today, was established in 2002. Originally, business administration was taught since 1965. In December 2009, the NUS Business School moved into its new flagship building, the Mokhtar Riyadi building. Within the 9-story tall, 16,000 square meters building is a soaring 5-story atrium that will serve as a focal point as well as a perfect place for corporate events. Classrooms, meeting and seminar rooms, study spaces, executive dining areas, and even a cafe and a dedicated alumni lounge are all cleverly integrated in this building. So the building has been designed very with a lot of thought to detail, and I think a lot of people appreciate the architecture of this building. The variegated glass exterior takes on different hues in the various shades of sunlight, symbolizing transparency. So the glass takes on different colors, and the MBA graduates are taught to be honest, ethical, and transparent in their dealings. And the glass transparency is kind of symbolic of the transparency that they teach to their students. So some more facts about the business school. World rank number 12, and class size about 76 students in MBA 2016 cohort. And there are 76 current PhD students. So some of these might be first year, second year, third year, fourth year. Totally there's about 76. There is totally about 76 current PhD students at NUS in the business school. So they might be doing an MBA in marketing or entrepreneurship or finance or statistics or accounting or so many other things. So NUS B School now has about 149 full-time faculty members with a student population of over 3,000. both undergraduates and postgraduates. Program duration in months. MBA is a 2-year program, full-time 2-year program. And executive MBA, it depends. So I think it's customizable, probably 1 year. And then average GMAT score is 656 out of 800. And that's actually kind of low if you think about like Wharton and Harvard. Usually most of the students have 700 plus. So you know, at like but if you had a 656 in GMAT, and if you're applying to Wharton, which is like one of the topmost business schools in the University of Pennsylvania in the United States, your chances would be very slim, believe me, unless you have an exceptional academic record and maybe you founded a couple of companies and you have an Olympic gold medal or something to make up for this. It would be very difficult to get in there with this kind of a GMAT score, because most students in Wharton and the top universities in the US, they're mostly like 700 plus. And I think it's a little surprising to me that with the 656 average GMAT score, you can get into like NUS Business School. So student profiles, so they have average about 6 years of work experience, and their average age of the MBA students is about 30 years. Annual tuition, about 41,453 Singapore dollars, about 41,000 Singapore dollars. So a Singapore dollar is roughly equivalent to a US dollar. It sometimes keeps fluctuating, right? Sometimes it's probably a little more, a little less, but it's approximately like the same. So you have to look up the conversion rate sometimes. So every day it varies slightly, right? So if you just Google it, how much is $1 in terms of Singapore dollars, you'll know. But they're approximately the same. Sometimes it's about 1.2 times the other currency. So starting salary for an MBA graduate from NUS is approximately 64,500 Singapore dollars. So business school, NUS Business School has 6 departments. So there's finance, marketing, accounting, decision making, management and organization, and strategy and policy. So offers double degrees in collaboration with universities such as UCLA, HEC Paris, Peking University. So there's so many other universities with which they offer collaborative degrees. So you study part-time here and part-time there, and then get like a degree from both universities. That's actually kind of cool, think about that. So NUS B School offers MSc Management, MSc Business Analytics, so MSc Supply Chain Management, and Masters in Public Policy and PhD programs. So apart from an MBA, we can also get, MSc in Business Analytics. It's like for people who mainly want to work in business intelligence and, using tools like, Google Analytics to prepare dashboards, things like that. And then MSc in Supply Chain Management. So you focus only on supply chain management with just a few other subjects. So this is, these are some of the other programs available at the master's level and PhD level apart from an MBA. So internships and jobs. So it's quite hard to get a job in Singapore without a permanent residence or citizenship. So if you're like an Indian student or a foreigner going to Singapore, you study there, but without like a work permit, without a permanent residency or citizenship, it's going to be hard to get a job there. It's not so easy. And a lot of people who graduated there, they go back to their home countries. Or sometimes they go to other countries, like they might get jobs in US or Europe or other countries. But MBA from NUS is very prestigious. You can get many jobs in consulting, marketing, finance, etc. in Singapore and other countries if you have good contacts in your network. So remember, networking is really important in any country. And most people do an MBA not just for the knowledge, but mainly for the networking opportunity. Now, you get to meet some of the top-notch entrepreneurs, brilliant minds, and you can form companies together and collaborate, and using your network of contacts you can get a job. And networking is really important, because imagine if you have a company and you're hiring somebody, you'd want to hire somebody that an internal employee refers, or somebody like, say, a friend of a friend or something like that, as opposed to hiring a total stranger, because you don't want to take the risk. So even if that person is less competent than like a stranger, you'd probably hire the person who comes from a referral. So referrals are really important, and it's good to build contacts and a large network of friends, and also business contacts. So let's talk about the NUS Computer Science Department. The School of Computing, SOC, established in 1998, has two departments, computer science and information systems. So this is the computer science department, and it also offers information systems. So there is a MS in computer science and also MIS, management of information systems. Department offers 3 undergraduate degree programs: computer science, information systems, and computational biology. So there's also graduate programs, MS in computer science, MS in information systems. NUS Computer Science. World rank for computer science is 9. Program duration is about 24 months to get a master's in computer science. Annual tuition about 36,200 Singapore dollars. Internships and jobs. So after getting a master's in computer science, a lot of students are placed in really good companies like Google, Microsoft, Facebook in the US and Europe and Australia, and also in other parts of the world. There's Accenture, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, Barclays Bank, Citibank, Credit Suisse, CSIT, Deloitte, and then DSO, DSTA, Garena, Google, we already talked about that, HP, I2R, IBM, Lucasfilm, Microsoft, Mindef, MOE, NCS, OCBC, I'm not sure what this stands for, but then Singtel, ST Electronics, Tecmoquai, Ufinity, and URA. So these are like some of the top employers who hire MBA graduates from NUS. MS in computer science graduates from NUS. So let's talk about mechanical engineering department of NUS. Areas of study: applied mechanics, control and mechatronics, fluid mechanics, manufacturing, material science, microsystem technology, thermodynamics. These are some of the specializations you can have in mechanical engineering. So this is the mechanical engineering department. Looks nice, and they have a really nice, clean, beautiful campus. So mechanical engineering world rank number 8, and then according to like QS rankings for 2016, and program duration is about 2 years long, and then annual tuition 36,200 Singapore dollars. That's pretty much like it's pretty much the same across all engineering departments. And then these are again the top employers for masters in mechanical engineering graduates. So there's Mindef, MRTC, PSA, PUB, refineries, marine, aerospace, defense industries, general manufacturing and supporting industries, Micron Semiconductor Asia, IM Flash Singapore, etc. So these are some of the top employers. So NUS, let's talk about the electrical engineering department. So this is the beautiful electrical engineering department. Broad areas of specialization: biomedical engineering, communications engineering, computer systems, control and automation, data storage, energy and power systems, mechatronics, microelectronics, IC design and manufacturing, robotics, software systems engineering. NUS Electrical Engineering. World rank for electrical engineering is 6. Program duration is about 24 months long, 2 years long. The annual tuition is about 36,200 Singapore dollars. Job opportunities: Micron Semiconductor Asia, IM Flash Singapore, Advanced Micro Devices, and so many other companies for electrical and electronics engineering. Chemical engineering at NUS. World rank for chemical engineering, top 5 in the world. Program duration is 2 years long. Annual tuition is 36,200 Singapore dollars. Internships and jobs: there's Shell, ExxonMobil, SRC, GSK, Sharing Plow, Motorola, NEC, CSM Aventis, Pharmacia, UP John, BTI, BASF, DuPont, Eastman, Foster Wheeler, Honeywell, ICES, Micron Semiconductors, and IM Flash Singapore. These are some of the top employers for graduates from chemical engineering department. NUS Civil Engineering Department. So this is what the civil engineering building looks like, and then you can focus in different areas in civil engineering. So there is civil engineering materials, construction management, environmental engineering, geotechnical engineering, hydraulic engineering, infrastructure systems, structural engineering, and transport engineering. Some of the specializations. Rank in Singapore for civil engineering, top 3 in the world. Program duration 2 years long. Annual tuition 36,200 Singapore dollars. Internships and jobs: you can find a lot of jobs in engineering consulting firms, R&D institutions, construction and offshore engineering, environmental engineering, and transport industries. So NUS Medical School. So this is what the medical school looks like. Yonglulin School of Medicine is a prestigious medical program in Singapore. So there's a prestigious MBBS program. So global rank is 22 and it's about 5-year long MBBS program. Annual tuition is about 50,800 Singapore dollars. The school uses the British undergraduate medical system, offering a full-time undergraduate program leading to the Bachelor of Medicine and Bachelor of Surgery MBBS degree. So NUS Medical School, there's the Yonglulin School of Medicine, first established as the Straits Settlements and Federated Malay States Government Medical School in 1905. So it's more than like a century old. The school comprises departments such as Alice Lee Center for Nursing Studies, there's anesthesia, anatomy, biochemistry, diagnostic radiology, epidemiology, public health, medicine, microbiology, obstetric and gynecology, ophthalmology, orthopedic surgery, otolaryngology, pediatrics, pathology, pharmacology, physiology, psychological medicine and surgery. So a lot of Indian students do go to Singapore for med school, but after that there's a bond for like about 5 or 6 years and they have to serve in Singapore. And it's also kind of expensive too. So it's a 5-year program, and in the first year they study about normal structure and function with clinical relevance. So if you're going to be a doctor, first you think about how the body works in a normal way. Study about the anatomy, physiology, and biochemistry and genetics and all this stuff, how it works under normal conditions. And then phase 2 we talk about abnormal structure and function with clinical relevance. So we talk about how diseased organs and things work. So and we talk about how to cure it. And then like in the 3rd year they talk about core clinical practice, and then 4th year they talk about acute and specialty clinical practice, and the 5th year they talk about student internship program. So you do like a house surgency. Applicants will be shortlisted for the focus skill assessment, that's FSA, and then there's a situational judgment test, SJT. So if you're applying to med school in Singapore, you would have to undergo these 2 tests. It talks about your focus and your situational judgment. Candidates admitted who are not in receipt of PSC scholarships are required to serve the government of Singapore upon successful completion of the course. So 5 years excluding housemanship and 1st year residency training. So for Singaporeans, and for Singapore permanent residents and international students, 6 years excluding housemanship, 1st year residency training. So you'll have to serve the country for 6 years if you study medicine in Singapore, if you're like an international student. So there's the Duke NUS Graduate Medical School Singapore. It's a collaboration between Duke University in North Carolina, United States, and the National University of Singapore. It follows the American model of post-baccalaureate medical education. Students begin their medical studies after earning a bachelor's degree. In this way, Duke NUS is able to offer an opportunity for students with the potential to excel in the field of medicine and biomedical sciences. Yale NUS partnerships. So at Yale NUS, college education emphasizes broad-based, multidisciplinary learning in the full range of arts, humanities, and social and natural sciences. It encompasses a 4-year, fully residential undergraduate experience in which students are immersed in a stimulating intellectual setting characterized by small classes and close interaction among students and faculty. The Yale NUS moved into its new campus at 16 College Avenue West in July 2015. So they had a new campus recently. Over 100 faculty members, over 190 students from 26 countries admitted to class of 2019. So they have about 190 students in this year. So NUS Law School. So this is the beautiful campus of the NUS Law School. So the law school was first established in Department of Law in the then University of Malaya in 1956. The first law students were admitted to the Bukit Timah campus of the university the following year. In 1977, the faculty shifted to Kentridge campus, but in 2006 it relocated back to the Bukit Timah site. Programs offered: traditional LLB 4 years, double honors degree in business administration and law, economics and law, law and life sciences. a concurrent degree program in law and public policy, grad coursework, LLM specializations, corporate and financial services law, intellectual property and technology law, maritime law, and Asian legal studies, international and comparative law. These are some of the specializations you can have. And the law school is also very popular. NUS Law School majors. So you can major in business organizations, competition law and policy, mergers and acquisitions, intellectual property and information technology law and policy, business, international commercial litigation, logistics and transportation law and policy, taxation, legal, regulatory and accounting aspects. Faculty of Law presently takes around 250 students each year, including the number of students admitted to the graduate LLB program, double degree and concurrent degree programs. Admissions happen once a year for August. Most students enroll in the 4-year LLB program, and some may enroll in one of our 3 5-year double degree program, Business Administration and Law, Economics and Law, Law and Life Science, or our 4.5-year concurrent degree program with the Lee Kuan Yew School of Public Policy, Law and Public Policy. Some students may also apply to read law after completing a degree in another discipline. These students will enroll in the 3-year graduate LLB, so GLB program. NUS famous alumni. So there's Aaron Koo, best-selling author of I Am Gifted, So Are You, entrepreneur. Andy Engg, so CEO of ERC Group of Companies. Chu Choon Seng, former chairman of Singapore Airlines, chairman of the Singapore Exchange and the Singapore Tourism Board. Ho Ching, CEO of Temasek Holdings. Lim Lee Kok, founder of Asia Pac Books. Olivia Lum, CEO of Hiflex Group. Philip Yeo, chairman of Spring Singapore. So this is another cool fact about NUS campus. So they have these hug me vending machines. So you hug this machine and it, you hug it and you get a Coca-Cola. So you hug the machine and you get a Coca-Cola. So isn't that like cool? So now we talk about the Nanyang Technological University, or NTU, in Singapore. This is almost equally popular as the NUS, and they have an angry lion here on their emblem. So Nanyang Technological University, the history. So in 1991, NTI merged with National Institute of Education, NIE, so to form the Nanyang Technological University, NTU. So historically, Nanyang Technological University admitted students jointly with the National University of Singapore and charged the same fees. Students made only one application and they would be accepted by either university. In 2004, the joint admission ended and students could apply separately to both universities as both universities began to distinguish themselves. NTU became autonomous in 2006 and stands as one of the 3 largest public universities in Singapore today. So the campus houses most of the colleges and schools. These include College of Engineering, Nanyang Business School, the Wee Kim Wee School of Communications and Information, College of Science, College of Humanities, Arts and Social Sciences, Lee Kong Chian School of Medicine, National Institute of Education, Interdisciplinary Graduate School, S. Rajaratnam School of International Studies. So this is the Nanyang Technological University NTU campus. It's a beautiful building with a kind of really modern architecture with some kind of plants and trees on the top, and it looks really nice actually. It's kind of interesting. And the NTU, some quick facts. NTU has approximately 10,000 graduate students pursuing master's degrees, doctorates and other postgraduate degrees. The graduate student population is largely international. The admission requirements for postgraduate studies vary within the school and the course of study. Several programs require GRE or GMAT scores. Typical minimum scores are 320 in GRE, global and quantitative together, 3.5 in GRE analytical, and at least 600 in the GMAT. But these can vary widely between different schools. Applicants from non-English speaking countries are typically required to submit TOEFL or IELTS scores. That's the test of English as foreign language, and it's another English proficiency test. Typically minimum scores are 6.0 in IETL and 90 internet-based TOEFL. Nanyang department rankings. So Business School is ranked top 28 in the world. Computer Science is top 14. Mechanical Engineering 13. Electrical Engineering top 8 in the world as per different world rankings as of 2016. Civil Engineering top 18. Chemical Engineering top 18. Medical School it's like less than 100 in the world, and Law School is less than 100 in the world. Nanyang Technological University Business School. So this is what the business school building looks like. Beautiful building, nice campus, looks really appealing, and rank in Singapore for MBA is like top. It's the global rank for MBA. Sorry, globally ranked about 28 in the world, and then class size is the largest business school in Singapore. Over 6,800 students pursuing undergraduate, postgraduate, and executive programs. Program is about 12 months long in duration. GMAT score is 650, average GMAT score. About 6 years average work experience, and most of the students are average 28 years old. Annual tuition is about 55,000 Singapore dollars. Starting salary is about 8,300 Singapore dollars. Nanyang Technological University Business School. So, the business school has more than 160 professors from more than 20 countries, proficient in 30 languages, holding doctorates from the most renowned universities in the world. This makes NBS one of the largest business schools in the world in terms of faculty strength. Faculty is organized into 6 academic divisions: accounting, banking and finance, business law, information technology and operations management, marketing and international business, strategy, management and organizations. So this is the computer science department picture. So this is another beautiful campus. Established in 1988, the SCSE, School of Computing Science, has paved the way for many exceptional engineers, arming each with the relevant tools to redefine the way we live. Graduate programs by research, so there's Master of Engineering, there's a PhD program. Graduate programs by coursework, there's MSc in Embedded Systems, MSc in Digital Media Technology. So these are like full-time programs, and then MSc in Information Systems. There's all these full-time programs. So global rank for computer science is like 14 in the world, and then it's a 12-month long program, 1-year program. Annual tuition about 36,280 Singapore dollars. Starting salary for MS graduates from Nanyang is about 42,600 Singapore dollars. And then some of the top employers for computer science graduates of NTU include Google, Emerson, ExxonMobil, Facebook, etc. So this is the aeronautical engineering department, and then this is the mechanical engineering department. A really beautiful architecture. And so the mechanical engineering department is top 13 in the world. It's a 2-year program. Annual tuition about 31,460 Singapore dollars. This is the electrical electronics department, and rank in Singapore, well, it's actually the global rank for electrical engineering, top 8 in the world. And program is a 2-year program, Masters in Electrical Engineering. Annual tuition about 31,460 Singapore dollars as of year 2016. And then starting salary for MS in Embedded Systems is approximately 78,000 Singapore dollars, just to have an idea of how much these graduates earn. So this is the chemical engineering department, and then there's it's ranked top 18 in the world. Program duration is about 2 years long. Annual tuition 31,460 Singapore dollars. So this is the civil engineering department, and then a really beautiful campus. And then the civil engineering is again top 18 in the world. Program duration is 2 years long. Annual tuition 31,460 Singapore dollars. Starting salary 42,383 Singapore dollars. Internships, jobs, many companies in the construction industry employ these graduates. Top employers in Singapore. So there's Continental AG, and then they pay anywhere from like $46,000 to $68,000. Standard Chartered Bank about $110,000 to $213,000 Singapore dollars. Google, they pay anywhere from $57,000 to $209,000 per annum. And then National University of Singapore, they employ people, $48,000 to $67,000. Boehringer Ingelheim Corporation, $66,700 approximately per annum. Emerson Networks, Trilogy Group. These are all some of the top employers for these graduates who study in Singapore top universities. So this is the medical school campus of Nanyang Technological University. So medical school, it's about 60 months or 5 years long, MBBS program. Annual tuition about 70,500 Singapore dollars, so it's actually quite expensive. So if you multiply that by 5, it's about almost 350,000 Singapore dollars. I mean, not everybody can afford it. So, and then many doctors may be forced to work in Singapore due to bonds with the government. So if you're an international student, you might have to work for about 6 years in Singapore. Some doctors do practice in other countries too. So, medical school, School of Medicine established in 2013 in collaboration with Imperial College London. The school received record donations of about 400 million Singapore dollars, including 150 million Singapore dollars from the Lee Foundation. Its primary clinical partner is the National Healthcare Group. Graduates of the 5-year undergraduate medical degree program will have a strong understanding of the scientific basis of medicine, interdisciplinary subjects including business management and technology. The school, named after local philanthropist Dato Sri Lee Kong Chian, aims to be a future model for innovative medical education. Its first doctors will graduate in 2018, the MBBS degree awarded jointly by NTU and Imperial College London. So let's talk about Nanyang Law School. Nanyang offers a 3-year Bachelor's of Accounting specializing in business law. The program duration is 3 years, 4-year full-time program is there, and then 5-year dual degree program, these are all there. Annual tuition approximately 17,000 Singapore dollars per annum as of year 2016. And then internships and jobs, we get Bachelor's of Law undergraduate degrees, professional degree recognized for admission to practice in Singapore. And their graduates also been admitted to practice in Malaysia, several Commonwealth jurisdictions, and some states in the US. Nanyang famous alumni, Ang Mong Seng was a former MP, and Intan Azura Mokhtar, MP, Assistant Professor at National Institute of Education, Lee Biwa, MP, Lo Yen Ling, MP, Parliament Secretary, Masagos Zulkifli, MP, Minister for Environment and Water Resources, Siman is MP, Minister of State, Inderjit Singh, former MP, Teo Serlak is another MP, Mayor and Minister of State. So this is the Singapore Management University, another university, and it's another beautiful campus. And the Singapore Management University, SMU, is a public autonomous national university in Singapore that specializes in business and management studies. The university provides an American-style education in collaboration with the Wharton School of the University of Pennsylvania. SMU is ranked as one of Asia's top universities, debuting in the 2015 Financial Times EMBA ranking at top 10 in Asia and 36 worldwide, making it the highest ranked new entrant in 2015. So SMU was established in 12 January 2000, so it's relatively new, located in the downtown area of Singapore. It has a total enrollment of about 8,800 undergraduate and postgraduate students. SMU comprises 6 schools offering undergraduate, graduate and PhD programs in business administration, business analytics, financial services, accountancy, economics, information systems management, law and the social sciences. It has over 30 research institutes and centers of excellence, and customized corporate training and lifelong learning for individuals are available through the university's professional and executive development programs. So Singapore Management University is also a popular destination for MBA. I mean, those who can't get into NUS or NTU, they usually go to like Singapore Management University and a few other universities. So there's the Queen Margaret University. So this is, they have a campus in Singapore. And then Curtin University. So they have another campus in Singapore. And then MIT, from Pennsylvania, United States, they have a branch in Singapore. So this is the MIT campus of Singapore. So so basically it's like, we talk about programs which are in Singapore in collaboration with other universities in other parts of the world, and these are some of the details about what scholarships are available, how much money they pay you, and then it's like there's a lot of these different details. We'll make this PowerPoint available in our Coolgrad website, and you can review it in detail. So there's various scholarships available. So there's Singapore International Graduate Award, Singapore Millennium Foundation scholarships. There's so many scholarships. Science and Technology undergraduate scholarship from NUS. There's so many scholarships. Some people, they even give you an air ticket to and from Singapore at the beginning and end of the courses, and they give you scholarships. They give you accommodation. They give you a lot of ways funding. And then, what is the cost of living in Singapore? It's actually very expensive. So monthly rent in Singapore as of the year 2016, approximately 2,600 to 3,500 Singapore dollars per month for a studio. It's quite a lot. And one bed, one bath apartment is approximately 1,900 to 2,500 dollars per month. Two bed, two bath apartment is about 2,700 to 3,200 dollars per month. Three bed, three bath apartment is about 2,900 dollars to 3,980 dollars per month, Singapore dollars. So as you see, it's quite expensive. So if you think about a one bed, one bath apartment, approximately 2,000 Singapore dollars, that's about more than 1 lakh rupees per month just for house rent. So like when my sister was studying in Singapore, they had a small 10 by 10 room with an attached bathroom and one big bed, which she was sharing with another girl when she was studying there, and they would both sleep on the same bed. They couldn't even get like a whole room for themselves, and for sometimes she lived in the dorms. I mean, it's very expensive. The real estate in Singapore is also very expensive. For a small house, you'd be paying a lot of money. It's almost like California, I guess. So it's really, really expensive, and there's not too much space in Singapore, so it's like really crowded. And if you want to have a nice big house and that kind, then I'm saying your chances, you might be better off in places like, say, in the US, for example, Atlanta or Florida or Texas. You can get a really nice big 5 bed 5 bath house for approximately $250,000. But in Singapore, you might hardly get one small cramped condo. But I mean, some people like it, to be in the city, in the concrete jungle where it's all happening. Some people like it in the woods, in a laid back, relaxed place. So it all depends. So it depends on what you want. So we'll talk about some of the places to see in Singapore. I had the good fortune to visit Singapore in December 2013, and it was a really nice trip. So I went to Thailand, and then Singapore, and then Malaysia. So Sentosa Island, there's a lot of adventure activities there, and then there's Merlion, the national symbol of Singapore, and then there's the Little India. It's a place where there's all these Indian restaurants and shopping and stuff. Mustafa, which is like a shopping arcade. Jurong Bird Park, one of the most beautiful places where there's a lot of birds. And then there's a night safari, a unique thing in Singapore. So Sentosa Island. So if this is Singapore, there's like a cable car ride, and then you take the cable car to go to Sentosa Island. So in Sentosa Island, there's a lot of the island was renamed Sentosa in 1972. Sentosa means peace and tranquility in Malay, from Sanskrit, Santosha. So it's Sentosa is the variant of that, from a suggestion by the public. And then 1974, Singapore cable car system was built, linking Sentosa to Mount Faber. So this is a picture of me zip lining in Sentosa Island. So you go all the way from the top, and then zip lining, and it was actually thrilling and interesting. It has a lot of adventures, zip lining, and there's a trapeze, and there's tram tours, and there's like a beach there too, and then a lot of interesting things that you can do, play a lot of games and stuff. Merlion, this is the Merlion, which is the national symbol of Singapore. It's like lion at the top and mermaid at the bottom, and it's like a fountain. The lion is also the national animal of Singapore, but there are hardly any lions in Singapore. So this is a national monument. Little India. This is the it's a whole big area where there's a lot of Indian restaurants and Indian stores and shopping arcades, temples, a lot of things. I've been there. It's really nice. Jurong Bird Park. So there's a lot of interesting birds there. There's macaws, ostriches, flamingos, parrots, owls, peacocks, and there's an egg world where you see birds hatching. There's a place where you can watch birds hatching fresh from their eggs and growing in the incubators. There's like varieties of birds, and it's really calm and serene, and there's waterfalls, and that's a picture of me at the Jurong Bird Park, near a waterfall. It was a really nice place to be in. And there's a tram tour which takes you around and stuff. So this is the night safari. So I went on this as well, but then it's like in the night you go and you see a lot of interesting animals in their natural habitat, in the nocturnal habitat. So it's kind of nice. I mean, you don't get to do it every day. And then, so night safari, you get to see tigers, bears, zebras, owls, giraffes, tapirs, so many interesting animals. It was opened on 3rd May 1994. So it took almost 7 years to complete at a cost of more than 62.5 million Singapore dollars. The nighttime zoo was initially named the Asian Night Safari with a focus on Asian species, but renamed the Night Safari. Singapore River Festival. So this is a festival, celebrates different cultures and ethnicity of Singapore, features beautiful performances by artists and many parades along the Singapore River. So they have a lot of shows and parades that happen in Singapore, and I forgot to mention this. In the Sentosa Island, there is the Song of the Sea. It's a show, so you sit on the beach and there's all the waves, and there's all these special effects, a laser show. It's like really, really beautiful. That was one of the nice things I enjoyed at Sentosa Island. So there's also like indoor skydiving, so many interesting things. And this is the Singapore Hawker Center. So if you want to try new cuisines, head to any of the hawker centers. There are more than 100 hawker centers in Singapore, having almost 200 stalls. It's pretty hard to cover them all, but you need at least 4 days to cover all the hawker centers. I mean, there's all these different types of food from different parts of the world. A lot of Chinese, Vietnamese cuisine, and a lot of Indian food too. So there's the Skypark. It's a kind of a building which looks like a surfboard on top of these buildings. It's a kind of unique architecture, and it's on the beach. It's kind of an interesting building there. And then if you want to see an architectural masterpiece, Skypark looks like a kayak or surfboard docking on a tripod, built on top of 3 hotel towers at Marina Bay Sands. Providing the best panoramic view of Singapore, this 1.2 hectare tropical heaven is longer than the Eiffel Tower. It's large enough to park 4 A380 jumbo jets. It extends from one of the world's largest public cantilevers. It also has world's largest rooftop pool called Infinity Pool. So some of the Indian restaurants in Singapore, a lot of Indian restaurants. So there's Banana Leaf, Apollo, there's Kailash Parvat. I ate there a lot actually. I was put up in a hotel like right opposite Kailash Parvat. And then there's Sharvana Bhavan, I went there too. And then Punjab Grill, Zafran Kitchen, Komal Villas, RAS Delhi Restaurant. There's Anand Bhavan. A lot of these restaurants out there. Close to Mustafa, there's like so many restaurants in Little India area. And public transport in Singapore. So getting around in Singapore is really easy. A lot of buses, trams, trains, light rail transit, mass rapid transit, and then comprehensive network makes it easy to access all parts of Singapore. So if you visit SMRT, you will see details about how to catch a bus. There are a lot of public transport, unlike in the United States. Like in America, without a car, there's pretty much no life, except in places like New York. Even in California, it would be very difficult to survive without a car. Places like Atlanta and stuff, it was so difficult to move about without having a car of my own. But it's not like that in Singapore. It's really easy to travel around, a lot of public transport. So often bus stops or bus interchanges can be found next to MRT stations. So you can you can pay bus fare by cash or the EasyLink card, which can be used for the MRT, public buses, and some taxis. So you can buy this kind of prepaid card. So you can buy this from any of these places. And then public transport in Singapore is kind of it's not so expensive and not so cheap either. So the flag down rate is about $3 to $3.40 for normal taxis, and about $5 for a Chrysler. And there might be surcharges for electronics, road pricing. So peak hours, city area, midnight, public holiday, certain locations, Singapore Changi International Airport, Singapore Expo Center. So in these places there might be a surcharge, so watch out for that. So this brings us to the end of this video about studying in Singapore. And I hope you found it highly informational. And if you're planning to travel to Singapore for higher studies, good luck. The good thing is you can visit India. If you're from India, you can visit India quite often. My sister was there for like 1 year in Singapore, and she visited India at least, I think, 3 times in between. So there would be like offers and deals, and she would just fly and go back after a few days. So but for me, I was studying in the United States, and if I had to go to India, it was a big deal. It was like a 30-hour flight. So the good thing about studying in Singapore is it's close to India if you're from India. And a lot of my friends, who went to Singapore for undergrad, they had scholarships and stuff. They went there and they found it strange, Like in India, we say, hiya, come here, go here, that kind of thing. That's the way girls talk. But in Singapore, they would say, come la, go la, that kind of. You'll find a lot of cultural differences, a lot of interesting things, and there's no problem to get Indian food there, and no problem in public transport. So you can make a lot of new friends. It can be interesting, and you can also visit home often. Singapore is a good place to be in, but it's kind of like a crowded place. So if you like it like laid back, and you want to be like in some kind of a quiet place, with a lot of woods and nature, then it's not. If you don't prefer to be like in the heart of the city, then it may not be the place for you. But if you want to take a break in Singapore, you can also go to like Jurong Bird Park and places like that. So it's a very vibrant economy, and a lot of interesting courses, good universities. Singapore is a very popular destination for students, and if you're planning to go to Singapore, try and apply for the scholarships. A lot of students do that, and just be aware of the bonds at the end of it. So if you're ready to serve the bond, then think of it. But sometimes you go there and then you realize you don't want to be there after you graduate. You get sick, but then you're forced to serve the bond. I've seen that happen to people too. So think about the bond before you sign up for it. You might want to go there for a couple of weeks and see if you really like it there. Is that where you want to be after you graduate for 5 or 6 years? Think about that before you sign the bond. That's really important. So good luck. Thank you.